Welcome back, college baseball fans and the weekend rotation fans. We're joined today, Alex Day, Noah Darling, and myself. We all got to watch some great baseball last night. Alex, I'll start with you. How you doing this morning, man?
I'm doing great. Got to watch some good baseball a little bit. I had a big work day yesterday, so I didn't get to watch as much as I wanted. But definitely I got to watch most of the TCU Indiana State game, and that was a ton of fun to watch.
Yes, it was. We're going to break down each game that happened yesterday and all eight that are happening today. Noah, I know you were with me start to finish yesterday. How we feeling?
Yeah, that was great. I would have been a perfect day if Virginia had won for my picks, but otherwise, really satisfied with yesterday's action. Mark, you were at, of course, the best game of all with that Oregon Oral Roberts game.
Yeah, I got to tell you, man, that was outstanding. I was watching the other games from my phone in the press box, and then I'm sitting there watching a great game unfold in front of me. And yeah, college baseball it's rad. It's back, man. It's if you're not watching college baseball this time of the year, you're really wasting your sports enthusiasm right now, in my opinion. But let's break down. Let's start with the first one, of course. TCU, Indiana State yesterday. TCU just kind of showed up and took care of business there. Alex, I know you got to watch a little bit of that one. Not a ton of excitement from Horned Frogs, but they had 8,800 fans show up, which was huge for them, right?
Yeah, I mean that was had a good crowd. They were into it, but it was like you said, it's very business trip like. They just got out there, got off their business, took care of business, and they're moving on to the next day.
Yes, that TCU they were ready to go, right? They showed up. They were everything we wanted to see from them, and TCU just took care of business against this Indiana State team. Indiana State scores, in the ninth inning there, Noah. Do you think that there's enough life for this Indiana State team to kind of come back out here and battle a little bit more with TCU today?
Yeah, there's definitely something there because they've had such a special season to the point where they got to host that really emotional regional, and obviously they didn't necessarily have it ripped from them, but they know that they had that opportunity to play at home. So this there's still that emotion left in the tank, but you can tell that this is a TCU team that they are really not comfortable playing. This is probably the best lineup or second best lineup between them and Vanderbilt that they've seen all year. And while the offense really didn't explode for TCU yesterday, you can tell that the talent difference is evident. So I feel confident that TCU can win the series, but Indiana State can absolutely make this a three-gamer.
Yeah, I mean, I think they could battle back today. I think that they'll put a little bit of a heart out there and they'll really do everything they can in the blue there, the Sycamores. But I feel like this is all TCU. I feel like this is just TCU's destiny after beating up on Arkansas in Fayetteville and really just taking care of business. I really like what I see from this TCU team as much as I've been, giving their fans a hard time and ribbing them a little bit this last couple weeks. This TCU team is really firing on all cylinders and playing really good baseball at the moment. So excited to see that one here. We're going to move on after we finish these highlights here.
Oh, no, you're good to move on whenever, Mark.
Okay, we're going to move on good because I want to talk about Duke, Virginia. As we talked about here in the pre-show meeting, man, Virginia is a couple feet away from winning that game in a walk-off style, Noah?
Yeah, I thought for sure it was gone, and I know that everybody else did. I was in a work Zoom, of course, and had it on my phone, just kind of, in iShot. So I had no volume, so I didn't know what the commentators were saying. I've, of course, heard it later. That didn't help either. Everybody in the world thought it was going to go over the fence, and then he just caught it. And I, of course, picking Virginia in our thing, was like, oh, all right, walk-off homer. We all knew Jake was going to do it, and then the guy just almost knew that what the commentators were saying and how the crowd felt because he caught it in such a way that was like, haha.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a robbery. It was just a catch.
Yeah, he's just standing there on the track all casual, like, gotcha. And it was like, Virginia fans have just got to be absolutely feeling it. The only team that they lose to at home apparently is Duke. They just can't beat Duke at home. Alex, when we're looking at this one here, it was a great game yesterday. Great pitching performance from both teams. 5-4 win for Duke. What are we seeing today? What are we liking about this Virginia or Duke team? Who do you think coming out of here? We got lots to talk about.
Yeah, I think Virginia's going to come out, I think, today with their hair on fire. They cannot be happy with how that game ended. They know they were so close, and especially for it to happen against Duke. I think they're going to battle back, and I expect them to have a really good performance today.
Yeah, I would imagine that this lineup with those leaders in there, Kyle Teal, Jake Geloff, O'Connell. This team feels like they're going to come together. Like if I'm picking a one-loss team to come back and win the next two, I like this Virginia team to really battle back and see what they can do, especially with all that senior leadership. And this team felt so much like just an Omaha lock. Like they're there, they're going to be the ones. And then when they just don't get the offense that they had the last 2 weekends, it kind of makes you question what's going on here. But I love Virginia here. I hope that they can take care of business today and really send this one to an extra game, going to game 3 when we look at it here. Let's move on to the next one here. We had, excuse me, Florida, South Carolina, which finished, 5-4. South Carolina, Will McGillis back in the lineup, big for them. Alex, you've seen both these teams up close and personal. Both these teams are very good. Break it down a little bit for us. What happened last night?
Yeah, South Carolina bats got going early. Will McGillis right here with this jack on his on the second pitch of the game. And really thought that I really felt like, oh well, South Carolina's just getting ready to roll. They're getting the bats hot. They've got Will McGillis missed a ton of time this year, being injured, and he's a real key piece to their lineup. And so was Braylon Wimmers, another one that's missed a bunch of time. And he was good today, or last night, I should say. But man, the offense for Florida was just too much. I mean, Josh Rivera, big time Ryapel, all those guys. They showed why they're in the discussion. I mean, they're the number 2 seed for a reason.
Yeah, it's not just Caglione and Langford. Like, this team has a ton of offense all over the place, and pitching and defense too. They're really not. They made a couple uncharacteristic errors yesterday for this Florida team, but pitching and defense is really where they lie, and then that offense is so good. Noah, when you looked at this one here, were you a little bit surprised that South Carolina came out and the Florida kind of battled back?
There is nothing about this super regional that could surprise me. This is one of the toughest 3 that I think we have of our 8. I was a little bit surprised that Florida was kind of able to kind of sneak away at the end there, and really they won by 2 runs, but then they ended up winning by 1. I thought that it was kind of come down to maybe a walk-off situation. So it was nice that they were able to kind of shut the door, and we saw a preview of how that bullpen can be shaky and then also reliable at the same time. But yeah, nothing about this one is going to surprise me. I don't know who's going to win today, and I certainly don't know who's going to win Sunday if they have another one, or Monday.
Yeah, Neely, one of the best closers in the country, comes in, and then Will McGill says, "Not so fast. We're going to make this a 1-run ball game by hitting his second jack of the day." It's just a really good super regional, right? Like, when we look at super regionals, this is the excitement we want. This is the kind of level of play we want, and we're getting it out of this one. This one is, like Alex and I talked about before, when you're talking about super regionals, it feels like both these teams should be in Omaha, and only one's going to get the opportunity to play there. So it's exciting to see this one happen today. I hope that South Carolina can battle a little bit here today, but I do believe that Florida is the better team right now, even with South Carolina finally getting a little bit healthy here and coming back. So moving on to the last game of the day. That was a great play, by the way. That was an unbelievable jump throw. The Oregon Ducks are the only team in the history of Super Regional Baseball to be down 8 runs and come back and win. It was 0-96 up to that point. Noah, I know we were discussing it the whole day. Jonah Cox in this ORU lineup for Oral Roberts, they were on fire. They came out, scored 8 runs in the 3rd inning. That right there made his 46th game hitting streak, by the way, with that bunt single in the first. When you look at this Oral Roberts team and how they just kind of didn't score after that, and Alex, they hit like 197 the rest of the game after that 3rd inning.
Yeah, they were 3 for 90 or 3 for 19 in total with runners on base.
Yeah, that's just not going to win games in Super Regionals. You're just not going to win in Super Regionals with that kind of production. Noah, it was kind of next man up for this pitching staff who really didn't come out on fire there for Oregon, right?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a weird circumstance, because I know that Alex was just saying that, you looked at this game pretty early on and, oh, wow, Oral Roberts there for real. Maybe we can pencil them into Omaha. And then after that 3rd inning, it was all quack, 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 and that crowd was just on another level. I think that one of the cooler things in particularly college sports is obviously every crowd in the world celebrates a walk-off win. But when you can kind of see the, for lack of a better word, the waves in the crowd of people like bouncing up and down, that's a very cool scene almost, and Oregon had exactly that last night. It was very cool. They have a unique color, so it's just an interesting backdrop for our sport when Oregon gets to host an event of this magnitude.
Yeah, and here's the thing. So in that game, I was there live, of course, last night. And in up in the box, the crowd just never ever stopped. Like they even when they're down 8-0, this crowd just kept going. And I don't know if they just they haven't had that kind of crowd at PK Park all season, but they really never stopped the entire time. They were up and going, and they just kind of kept willing these guys to get back into this game and win that game. Alex, I know you didn't get to watch the whole thing, but were you surprised to see Oregon come back and walk this one off?
Yeah, I mean, I was shocked that they came back and walked it off. But credit to them. You get down 8 runs early in a super regional game like that. It's so easy just to pack it in and say, well, we'll try again tomorrow. But man, this Oregon team, they did not. They fought back. The pitchers bared down and shut down that Oral Roberts lineup, which was really hot coming into today or last night. And then the bats, they just kept chipping away. And that's all you can do in that situation. And man, they really came through in the end.
Yeah, in the post-game press conference, talking to Coach Mark Wasowski, he said, we just try to win every inning. And, we lost the 3rd inning. That's okay. It happens. He's like, but then we just try to win every inning from there on out. We don't really look at the scoreboard. We kind of just battle and see what we can do every inning. And that's what they did, putting up 1 run here or 2 runs there and 3. They just kept battling back and kept fighting, and every inch was just fought for that whole game there. And then to win it in walk-off fashion at home in front of this crowd look at that. It was nuts. It was craziness to see this here. And that Oregon team deserved every bit of that walk-off win last night after being down 8-0. So it was crazy. It was exciting. I cannot wait for today's game. I will be there again. It feels like this team is just destined for Omaha now, so I hope I'm not jinxing this Oregon Duck team. But, we're all excited for that one here. Let's break down the something cool portion of our show here. Alex, I'm going to let you go first. What was something cool from yesterday?
I think just all of the record crowds around the country. Florida had a record crowd. TCU had a record crowd. Oregon had a record crowd. So just all over the country, you saw record crowds. And it's just a testament to what we talk about all the time, growing the game, right? They're growing the game out there. We're getting it bigger. And, it's awesome to see, even in places like, at TCU and Florida, where they've hosted super regionals before. And then now they're getting the record crowds, and people are really showing up. And it's just a ton of fun to watch.
Yeah, and it feels like more and more of these universities are setting up like pre-game stuff. So they're like, hey, come out 3 hours early, bring the family, come on out here and do all the fun stuff, meet the players, meet the football team, meet the cheerleaders, meet the coaches. Everybody seems to be all in on college baseball right now. It's really awesome to see. I agree, Alex. I think it's really cool how much the game is being grown, even by the own schools themselves and their athletic directors. Mm-hmm. Noah, something cool.
Well, I'm adding mine right now. It's that BT Rypel homer last night. Simply because Will Sanders came in relief, and the first 2 batters he faced, Jack Caglione and Josh Rivera, 2 of the best hitters in the entire country, he makes them whiff. They looked like little kids up there with baseball bats. And then BT comes in and does what BT has done best really since the SEC tournament, where he puts the bat on the ball and it goes over the fence by a long shot. That was straight to dead center off one of the best pitchers in the SEC. Really, really typical on-brand stuff for BT, and that ended up being enough to at least put him in a position to add 1 more run to win the game. But that was what really pulled it away for Florida last night.
Yeah, and Will Sanders looked terrific on the first 2 batters, and then that one was not. That was a little hanger there, and it got banged out of the yard. That was a big one there. My cool thing being at the Oregon game was Bennett Thompson, the 2 home runs there, kind of keeping this team in the game there. Had 1 in the 3rd and then 1 in the 5th. And then the other thing here was that crowd at PK Park was outstanding to be a part of that live. Like Alex said, the fans across the board in college baseball were excellent yesterday. I expect to see a lot more of that today. We didn't even have games in Southern Miss or LSU yet. No game in Wake Forest yet. So, we still have some excitement here going down for the games that we're about to see. Stanford, not so much. That one's not necessarily crowd-driven. But there's a lot of crowds across the country, and I'm excited for all of that today. Let's go down to the games in order here, fellas. So Wake Forest and Alabama. Alex, I'm going to let you start with this one here. Wake Forest, Alabama. Big series here. You know, Alabama representing the SEC. Wake Forest been the number one and most consistent team in the country. That's an early start here, 9 a.m. my time. What are we looking at?
Yeah, that's going to be a really interesting series. Can Wake Forest kind of hold that number one curse at bay and make it to Omaha? Alabama, like we talked about in our preview earlier this week, they've got they've got the best pitching staff in the SEC, from an ERA perspective. And so, I think they're going to be up to the task to kind of maybe not match Rhett Lauder pitch for pitch, but as a staff, kind of in the aggregate, be able to, match them and keep this Wake Forest lineup down. But can their bats do enough? Can Jarvis and Pinckney and company do enough against Rhett Lauder and that excellent Wake Forest pitching staff to maybe pull out a win? We'll see.
Yeah, I think that this game is most surprisingly probably the best pitching matchup that we're going to see in the Supers. And we've seen some good ones already, but I really like both these teams here. I think that Alabama's coming in, like we've talked about, hair on fire. Well, that's what Alabama's been this postseason, with scoring runs and battling into their games. They had to come from behind against Troy in their own regional there and win that one. Noah, what do you like here in this Wake Forest and Alabama series?
I like that curse of the one seed is on the line. Monty actually thought that it was just making Omaha, which is very cute. It's actually winning a national championship, but at this point, it's baby steps, because we think that Tennessee and Arkansas the last 2 years have lost in this very moment, and it's kind of been out of nowhere. Some people, I know Jake is on Alabama this one. It might be because of that. It might be because he thinks Alabama has the advantage here. It's, of course, very, very scary. So that's what I'm watching the most, is how can we see Wake Forest not only take control of the game early on, but do what they did in the regional, where they would have run ruled every team that they played.
Yeah, that offense, we talk so much about this Wake Forest pitching staff, right? Well, the offense was like, hey, we're here too, guys. We're on the team. They have so much talent there on that side. Kurtz, is just an elite player. Wilkin at third, they have so much elite talent on the offensive side, but we talk so much about the pitching. I believe in Wake Forest here. I think that they have been the most consistent team, and I really would like to see them get to Omaha. I know that they were the trendy pick early in the season to say, oh, ACC's back. Wake Forest is going to be in the national championship game. I really do believe that they've been the most consistent team, and I'm really excited to see what they do today against this great Alabama team, and it's been a great battle. It would not surprise me if this was a one-run game. It also wouldn't surprise me if Wake won by 10. That's how this game really could go. I'd be surprised though if Alabama won by 10. That would shock me. That would be my shocker. Let's move on to the next one. It is an elimination game here for Virginia. Virginia and Duke. Virginia is the visiting team. They could get beat as the visiting team in their own ballpark here, which we all hate. Noah, speak first on this Virginia Duke game.
Yeah, I think we kind of alluded to it earlier. We're kind of all thinking that Virginia is going to wake up and play a little bit angry today. That's how I see it going. So if you're on the over, congratulations. I think you should feel good about that one. And I think Virginia takes care of business today. But I thought they could have taken care of business yesterday too. So this Duke team is certainly hungry. They went through a regional that not a lot of people picked them to win, and now they're in a super regional that not a lot of people are picking them to win. I think Duke is pretty comfortable in this kind of situation, but it should be a great environment at Virginia today. It was kind of it was pretty good yesterday, but it was noon on a Friday. We'll see what it looks like at noon on a Saturday today.
Yeah, I think that crowd's going to show up for Virginia. I think that they're really going to try to get this team to get back on pace. I believe that this offense really can get after Duke, and Duke doesn't have a ton of pitching. They've kind of been like bullpen by design. They don't have a ton of starting pitching right now. So getting through that first game was good for Duke, but I think that they use a lot of arms. I don't know how much arms they have left for the rest of this super here. So they're going to have to get after it today. I think if Duke wants to win this one, they got to win today. Alex, when you're looking at this matchup here, is this all about whether Virginia's offense can come alive?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of the the crux of it. Like what you were saying, Mark, about how much pitching does Duke have left? Do they have enough to get it done? I think you're right that if they're going to win this super regional, they have to do it today. They can't. I don't think they can make a. If it goes to game 3, it's big time advantage Virginia. But we've seen crazier things happen in college baseball. So you got to go out, you got to play the games, and I know I'm going to be locked in on this one.
Yeah, it's college baseball. Crazy things happen, and fans make a huge difference in these games. I think being at home for Virginia, I like them in today's game. It would be just a real disappointment after the way they've played the last 2 weeks if they cannot secure the win today and at least push it to a game 3 tomorrow. Moving on to the next one here, we've got Florida and South Carolina, another elimination game for Carolina here. Alex, I know that we're going to have eyes on this one. This one starts at 3 o'clock Eastern, 12 West Coast time, and whatever your guys' time zone is, what is that for you guys? 2 o'clock?
2 o'clock, the correct one.
2 o'clock Central time, whatever.
America's
Nobody's
time zone.
Central time. America's time zone. So Florida, South Carolina. Do you think South Carolina's going to be able to battle back here, or is this going to be Florida today? Alex.
I think South Carolina, I mean, they've played with a ton of heart. They're not scared of this Florida team. They're not scared of the environment. None of that scares them. So they're gonna come out there. They know they lost and they need to win. And I think they're gonna come out and some of those big time bats, Petrie and Messina, they're gonna wake up and remember who they are. But is it gonna be enough? I don't know. Florida's got one of the best lineups in the country. I expect this to be another big home run day, just a launching pad out there from home plate, and it's going to be a ton of fun to watch no matter what.
Yeah, my concern is South Carolina's pitching staff. I know that they're kind of getting healthy, but they really don't have the depth in the starting rotation right now. Who did Florida say who they're throwing today? Do we know who Florida's pitching today? Is it Waldrop?
My assumption will be Waldrop. I don't think it's been officially announced.
Okay, my assumption would be Waldrop as well. And he's tough. He's one of the best pitchers in the country, and South Carolina's going to have to come alive with that lineup against one of the better pitchers in the country. So it'll be interesting to see here what we see. This Florida lineup also can just absolutely crush the ball versus a depleted South Carolina pitching staff. Noah, what do we like in this one here?
Yeah, I said it earlier that we all kind of said that this was going to go 3 games, and it really didn't matter who won game 1 because the other team's going to win game 2. And I still feel okay about that, but for some reason, there's a small part of me that says Florida gets it done today. But at the same time, absolutely nothing will surprise me with this series, and I think South Carolina could go out and win by 12 today. This is a total toss-up for me. I know that the bats were alive yesterday, and I think they'll be even more alive today in that daytime slot. I'm excited. This is one to watch for sure, but in terms of trying to pick a winner, good luck. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know who has the edge.
For whatever reason, then it feels like this is a coin flip that could land on edge. Like, I don't know which way this one could go.
I'm really excited to see the roulette wheel, and it's going to land on 00.
It's going to land on green. Yeah. I'm excited. I think that this one here is a terrific matchup. I kind of hope selfishly that South Carolina can win just so we can get a third game out of this one. But I can see it going either direction today. 2 very good lineups, 2 well-coached teams. I'm excited for both these teams. One of them is going to get an opportunity in Omaha to really do some damage there. The next game is Kentucky LSU. I'm going to let Alex go last. No, you're going to go first here. Kentucky LSU. Can the small ball of Kentucky battle this potent and ridiculous LSU lineup?
No, they cannot. I do not like this Kentucky team at all. I have been pretty adamant about that pretty much all season long. I'm excited for LSU to hopefully, for the first time possibly in program history, have my eyes looking at them in a positive light, and I want to see them come out and win by 1 million today, which means that Kentucky will win today.
All because your hopes and dreams are on one side, and it's not going to be Christmas today, Noah. Alex. Kentucky is going to try to small ball Skeens. They're going to try to get him off the mound. They're going to try to make him do some other things. He's really good, and I think he might come out with a little bit of fire after the amount of let's call it trash talking last time that these 2 teams met. What do you like here in this LSU Kentucky matchup?
Yeah, these are 2 teams that don't really like each other. They didn't even shake hands after their series, during the season. But this is going to be a tough matchup. Kentucky's going to play their way. They're going to play, and they play their way very well. So LSU is going to have to be good on the defensive side to combat that. But I look for LSU hitters to kind of take advantage of these Kentucky pitchers. Kentucky has a very deep pitching staff, but LSU's seen all of them before and has hit all of their all of their big time pitchers well. So I look for Skeens to go out there and just completely just be Paul Skeens. And then, for these bats to kind of wake up. I mean, in the first game during the season, LSU ruled them 16-6. So I look for hopefully a kind of a repeat performance.
So when I look at this Kentucky team, they've got about you got something else? You want something, Noah?
I just wanted to say that we don't know for sure that Skeens is going yet, as far as I know. There was some speculation during the week that weather might cause Jay Johnson to get a little scuttlebutt and move him to Sunday when the weather is more locked in. And you never know with Jay Johnson, I guess, because nobody picked Skeens to start against, whatever the 4 seed was. Not Nichols.
Tulane.
Yes.
Well, Jay Johnson did say in the press conference earlier this week that they will not play unless they have a window to get the entire game in.
All right.
He's like, I'm not stopping a game in the middle of it. If there's not a window to get the game in, we'll delay the game until we find one.
I didn't even know he had that power. I thought that was all umpires. I guess, no, that's not true. The coaches have the power to start the game, and then it goes to the umpires after the game has been started.
Now, the NCAA won't let them start the game early, but they can start it later.
Yeah, I remember that now. The coaches have the ability for the starting game, but once the game's started, then it's all on the umpires and the NCAA to decide what they're going to do. If I'm Kentucky, and I do get Skeens today, Kentucky's got about 7 arms in that bullpen that are really pretty good, right? That can go out there and do battle for you. If I'm down early, I may not be wasting any of those arms. I might be trying to hang on to some of those arms for the next 2 games, seeing if I can battle back in those next 2 games. Because Skeens is that guy, right? I think he's going to go out tonight if he throws and just really beat up this Kentucky lineup. I don't think that they can match them at all, and I think that this LSU lineup is elite. I've been screaming it all year when I put him in my top 25, and I kept putting him in the top 3, and people were like, why do you consistently keep him up there? That's because LSU is the scariest lineup that there is in college baseball today, and I don't want to face anyone through that 1 through 9. So I'm going LSU here hard. I think that they just beat up Kentucky. I think that this is, good story for Kentucky. I'm also like Noah. I don't like Kentucky at all this year. I've been down on them. I didn't even rank them in my top 25. So I believe that this LSU team will beat them.
Hey, Mark, before we move on to the next one, there's kind of some breaking news here. So Wake Forest, the game is being delayed right now due to a non-game related medical event that's been put out by Wake Forest Twitter. So not really sure what the details are on that. But that's looks like that game may start a little bit late.
Okay. Non-game related medical event. Okay, so that means it's not players or coaches or anything with the team. It's something.
I know, of course, don't want to speculate, but I wonder if it's related to the sky conditions, because I know that was getting near Virginia the other day. I don't know how south that is, but of course, New York looks like it's out of Breaking Bad right now. I wonder if that's making its way down there, but I don't know.
Looks like a summer in Oregon. All right, so not to speculate anything, but we do think that game will be delayed now. Thank you, Alex. Tennessee Southern Miss. Tanner Hall will not throw today for Southern Miss, which is, semi-surprising, but also they're going to give him full rest and let him throw tomorrow. Alex, what do you like here in this Tennessee Southern Miss game? Tennessee is the home team at Southern Miss.
Based on a coin flip. Yep.
So we at College Central, Baseball Central, we hate that. But let's have a little bit here in this one here. So, and we know it's weird circumstances. Even that Hattiesburg hosted over Tennessee, which was surprising for a lot of folks too. These two fan bases have been at each other's throats for the last week now, ever since they were set up for the matchup here. It's going to be a little chippy, I think.
This environment is going to be wild from the fans' perspective, from the players' perspective. It's going to be crazy. I mean, this is the most expensive super regional ticket in the country was for this super regional. And it's going to be a ton of fun to watch today with no Tanner Hall. I'm looking for Tennessee to just, mash some baseballs today and assert their dominance today. Maybe I guess Southern Miss's thinking is, we'll try and, maybe throw this game. I don't know, and try and win the next 2. It's a bold strategy in the super regionals. teams that don't win game one only win about 29% of the time. So we'll see how it works.
It is a bold strategy, and I'm wondering if Tanner Hall just needed that extra day of rest, because he did throw a ton of pitches this last weekend to will Southern Miss in there. Noah, is this another opportunity for Hattiesburg to get let down and get beat by another SEC team coming to town and smacking them around a little bit?
Well, it's ironic that who the home team is was determined by a coin toss, because I think this whole series comes down to a coin flip. I don't know who's going to win. I think it could go either way. I know that our Chandler has pointed out that Southern Miss usually drops the ball at home in these kind of situations, but if they're on the road is when they find their success. I really don't know. We know that Tennessee has also struggled on the road this season. It could go either way. I could see a reality where Tennessee smashes the ball around the ballpark today, and then maybe struggles against Tanner Hall tomorrow, and then takes us to a game 3. Gun to my head, I'm picking Tennessee, but I don't feel good about this at all. And we're certain to see something is going to go wrong in this one, because Tennessee fans are ready to sick on that.
Yeah, and something's going to go off the rails, because this is not just going to be a standard easy series down there in Hattiesburg. I love Southern Miss. I know coach is retiring after this season. Maybe that gives them enough firepower in their bellies here to really do something about it. Tanner Hall not throwing today is surprising, and he is that guy. When you're talking about an elite arm talent, Tanner Hall is that guy who can shut down a lineup and give you a win. Maybe that's what they're hoping. Maybe they can squeak one out today, and then Tanner Hall going against that Tennessee lineup is a juicy little bit of gossip tomorrow. So I'm excited to watch Tanner Hall throw tomorrow. Today I have Tennessee winning this first one, though. I just think that it's too much arm talent on that Tennessee starting rotation, and then now you got Chase Burns coming out of the bullpen. Tennessee has a lot of arms. I think it's too much for Southern Miss to come back on.
And Mark, I just want to say that there's a tweet going out there that one of the ESPN staffers is the reason for that medical event delay in Wake Forest.
ESPN staffer?
Yep.
Well, we know ESPN runs college baseball at this time of the year, so just not the rest of the year. No shots at ESPN. Yes, shots at ESPN. Texas and Stanford is the next one here. It is 5 o'clock your guys' time, 3 o'clock my time. Texas at Stanford. I really hope that since this is a Saturday game, more fans show up to that game. But with there being nobody there in Palo Alto and no students really available, I don't see a lot coming from this one. Noah, we've talked about it before. It's sad when Stanford hosts just because there's just not a ton of fandom there, right?
It is, but if you were watching Squeeze Play last week, you heard Mike Rooney a couple of times talk about how the lack of fans makes the place intimidating, because Stanford, at least when Rooney was coaching, Stanford was all business, and they would go in there and they would almost scare you with their team, and then they would be it'd be like dead in there, but they would have one of the best teams in the country. They would almost smother you with the silence of the stadium. And it's not like it's, there's nobody there. There's a few people sprinkled in the stadium, and they have I'm sure a decent fan base and a good amount of fans there that know what's going on. But we're not going to see a scene like we saw at Oregon yesterday. Those students are too busy studying.
Yeah, I'm expecting there to be some Texas fans though, and that could really kind of turn this tide of making it a different ballpark there. You might see Texas outweigh the Stanford fans there at home. The Stanford Sunken Diamond is a cool ballpark. Now, don't get me wrong. The ballpark itself is cool, how it's set in there with all the trees in the outfield there, and it's built into a berm, so everything that's built in the stadium is all down. That's why it's called the Sunken Diamond. But the fan base is just not tremendous there, even though they've been elite at college baseball here for the last 4 years and last few decades. Alex, when we look at this one here, Texas and Stanford, this is a really interesting matchup.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the Lucas Gordon, the Big 12 pitcher of the year, coming in there. The Stanford bats have kind of been hot and cold this year, but they've got some real dudes in that lineup. And them playing at home, gives them a little bit of an advantage, but it's not, like we've talked about here, they're not an intimidating place to play from a crowd perspective. So this one for me is a coin flip. I'm not really sure. I don't feel good either way about which team's going to come out of this. I would lean slightly Texas, but it's not an easy one to pick.
Yeah, here's the thing. You're getting two conference pitchers of the year battling each other on this Friday, and that's something we really like to see this time of year. And you're talking about two
Is
lineups that have been up and down in the scoring, right? So you just never really know what you're going to get from either one of these teams. I think Stanford has the more electric offense. I think that they have the better opportunity with, Carter Graham, Braden Montgomery, and the rest of that lineup. Tommy Troy has been on fire since he's come back healthy. Alberto Rios was the player of the year in the Pac-12. I think that Stanford has more firepower, and I think I give them the slight edge with Quinn Matthews, but nothing to take away from Texas and Brown. I think that this is a very, very good pitching staff. I think they're going to come in there and battle. And if it gets to game 3, then we're going to see some more pitchers, a little bit of Tanner Witt, and then probably a little bit of Drew Dowd down there. So I'm excited for this one. I hope it's a lot of offense. I hope the excitement's there. I hope that there's fandom. I really kind of want to see Texas fans show up there. So I think that if the Texas fans show out, it'll be really exciting.
Is Quinn Matthews is he for sure going today? Because he came in and pitched in relief the last game of the regionals.
They have not said that he's officially coming in, but that was really that Esker said that he could throw 30 to 60 in a bullpen on that day. So it kind of was bullpen, even though it was live arming. I would expect him to go today since they pushed the start back to Saturday and not having it on Friday. I think if it was Friday, there was question marks whether he was going to start. I think that he starts today for Stanford. I know they haven't officially said anything yet. Noah, you look like you got something on your mind.
I'm going to do some searching see if they've announced it.
Okay.
I don't know.
Moving on to the next one here. Indiana State, TCU. Indiana State, of course, not being able to host. They are the visiting team today, though, at TCU. TCU trying to close this thing out at home in front of the home crowd. And like we talked about, record crowd, 8,800 people there last night. Alex, when you look at this one here, does TCU have it in the bag?
I mean, I think Indiana State's going to play with some heart today. They're not going to go away quietly. They earned a spot in this super regional and should be hosting, but due to circumstances outside the players' control, they're not, and they're on the road. But they're not going. I don't expect them to go away quietly. I would look for them to win today and be able to force a game 3.
Yeah, and we talked about that they could have been hosting, but what happened is that they had some other stuff planned there. Indiana State also had the Indiana Special Olympics going on, and so that was one of the contributing factors to not having Indiana State host there. TCU fans and the Lupton Drinking Company, or Club, Lupton Drinking Club. I know, I was trying to correct myself there. They set up a fund there where they were asking people for donations to send up there to the Indiana Special Olympics, and they're over $30,000, and that's just from college baseball fans, which is just really tremendous. I know all of us here were helping with that promotion and getting that out there and donating our money and time. So good for them. Really good to see this, but I think this is all TCU at home. I hope Indiana State battles back, but I don't think they can match what TCU is doing at home, especially. Noah, when you look at this one here, TCU, Indiana State, what do we like in here?
Yeah, this one, I think, like we said earlier, the emotions with Indiana State might be enough to carry them to a win here. I feel confident that TCU will win the series, whether it's today or tomorrow. I know that TCU is looking to probably break another record after they did yesterday with I think they had 8,800 fans, which is the most in program history. Probably shoot for 9,000 today, but this is going to be a good one to watch just for the emotions of Indiana State versus kind of the hot streak that TCU's on there. They're 18-2 in their last 20 now.
Yeah. And I think that this TCU team is just coming together at the right time. That offense is really clicking. So I like them at home. I think that in front of that crowd there, that's it's too much for Indiana State to go on the road here and try to win this one. They had better chances at home, but of course, circumstances. So I like TCU here. Oregon is going to be the road team at home against this Oral Roberts team. Can Oral Roberts bounce back? They had a 21-game winning streak snapped last night. Noah, does Oral Roberts have enough to bounce back? They threw their ace last night. They threw their best closer. I don't know.
Well, when you win 21 games in a row, you can do it again. So it'll be interesting to see whether they can kind of overcome it. I think if they had lost in a regular way last night, it would be kind of say, they got a really good chance. But with the way they really lost momentum over time, that really, really stings when you're literally the first team in college baseball history to ever lose a super regional when you're up 8-0 in a game. it's going to be very tough to overcome that momentum hurdle. And then you got to go in there and listen to those rowdy fans that have probably been drinking for the last 24 hours now.
There is a full thing set up outside the stadium and alcohol inside the stadium. So, yeah, I'd say that those Oregon fans were a little rowdy on the old the wheat juice there. They were taking care of themselves. I think it was a lot of fun there at PK Park. Alex, when you look at this one here, Oregon and Oral Roberts, does Oregon close this out and get back to their first trip to Omaha since 1954?
Well, this game is in Oregon, so they could be doing a lot more than alcohol, but but yeah, no, I think the way Oral Roberts lost that game, that was such a demoralizing way to lose a game. All the momentum was on Oregon. This just feels like Oregon's going to sweep through this regional at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I will say last night that there was probably some greenery being shrubbed up there a little bit, maybe, Alex. You probably are correct there. I will say that the atmosphere was terrific. And then you're talking about another night game here in Oregon at PK Park. They sold out, and they're expecting more fans today to pile into their built-out stadium there. The whole left field, I don't know if you guys saw that last night, but the left field crowd in there in the ninth inning, they all took their shirts off. They were all standing out there shirtless, screaming for the Ducks, and then inside the ballpark was just it was a crazy atmosphere. I've been to lots of games there, right? That was the best atmosphere I've seen at a game at PK Park ever in the history of that ballpark. And I think that Waz and this team, just that the path is there for them. I think that they get back to Omaha today. I think they go out and take care of business and get the win here against Oral Roberts. Oral Roberts does have enough firepower to battle back. They do have the lineup. They have 8 guys hitting over 300 in that lineup. They could potentially do this and push it to a game 3. But I think that with the fan base and the way that they lost last night, I think that this is all Oregon today. All right. What was the most impressive win last night? And who do you think is going to have the best case of having the most impressive win today? Alex, I'll let you start.
I think the most impressive win last night is Oregon. I mean, to get down by 8 runs, be the first team to come back from an 8-run deficit in the history of super regionals. And just the way they did it, the heart that they showed, and the want to. I think that was the most impressive win last night.
Yeah, and who do you think is going to have the most impressive win today?
Today, I don't know. That's a hard one to predict. Probably, I don't know. I said I look for Tennessee to come out and mash some baseballs. So I think Tennessee may come out with some fire, and with no Tanner Hall on the mound for Southern Miss. That could be a big win for Tennessee today.
I like it. Noah, most impressive win yesterday?
Yeah, so immediately you think of Oregon, but I think Duke's was really, really impressive. They were the only true underdog that won yesterday, and they did it in a way where they could have easily fallen apart at the end, and nobody would have really blamed them for it. That's a good Virginia team with an explosive offense, and we know that they were about 12 inches away from not winning that game, but they did just enough to win, and that's all you can ask for a 2 seed who's now in a super regional.
Yeah, Duke is right there on the door. And who do you think today is going to have the most impressive win?
I think it's going to be Wake Forest. I think they come out explosive. They know the 1-seed curse. I have this strange feeling that Brock Wilken is just a huge college baseball fan. If you ever scroll through his Twitter likes, it's just so random. And this guy loves the sport. He knows that Tennessee and Arkansas are there. This team is well aware of the recent history and the stigma around the number 1 seed. I think they come out. They don't press too much, but they explode. I have a feeling that Wake wins something like 12-1 today.
I like it. For me, the Duck win because of the walk-off and being down 8-0 and making history and trying to be the first Duck team to get back to Omaha since 1954. I think that was the most impressive one last night for me. And being there live was pretty awesome. Today, I'm taking LSU to beat the doors off of Kentucky. I think that they're going to be the most impressive win. I think that they're going to go out there. They might hit 6 or 7 home runs. I just don't see it, especially at Alex Box. If they get the game in with the weather coming, I know there's weather looming there. I'm hoping that they get that game in on time, but I really, 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 really like this LSU team to go out there and take care of business against Kentucky.
Thanks for the jinx, Mark.
I know. I'm on it. I'm trying to hurt you out here. Not really. I do like LSU. I've been on a few LSU pods lately, and I think that this LSU team, I've said it since the start of the season, Alex, they have the best lineup in college baseball. That's what it comes down to. And then when you throw in the number one pitcher in the country, that's a dangerous combination when you're talking about a super regional when you got to win just 2 or 3. Toughest loss, Noah. Toughest loss last night. What was the toughest one?
Well, it's got to be Oral Roberts, the 1-96 now when leading by 8 at one point in the game. That one's going to sting, and we're talking about it so much that we're wondering if that loss is going to be enough to literally lose them 2 games. So I think it's really impactful.
I agree. Alex?
I think it's got to be Virginia. You were literally a foot away from walking that game off, and it just didn't happen for you. But that's unlike the one for Oral Roberts. It's going to be hard to bounce back from, and I think Virginia can definitely can bounce back from a loss like that.
I'm going to go South Carolina because, Will McGillis being back and being healthy and getting out there and hitting that ball. And then what are you going to do like when you play one of your best games and you still lose 5-4? I think South Carolina can bounce back. I think they have the absolutely opportunity to do it with that offense and the pitching staff. But it's scary when you play a really good game and you still lose. That's tough. That's tough when you look at that one there. All right, Noah, South Carolina or Virginia, who do you like better here to have their season extended by another day?
Yeah, I got to go with Virginia here just because they were the favorite going in. They're at home. They, at least we think, have the better team, probably the better all-time coach. Chris Collard's great, though, for Duke. I got to go Virginia here, but at the same time, the South Carolina-Florida series is going to be a total mixed bag where you reach in and you don't know what you're going to get. So South Carolina could win by 15 and Virginia could lose today, but if I'm going to bet on one, I'm taking Virginia.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that one is just a tough one there because I believe that both these teams could win today. But if I'm taking one or the other, I think it's Virginia today. We just got news also that Duke is wearing their black uniforms out in that heat today in Virginia. So that's
not good for the other smart schools. Stanford wears black boots.
We know it doesn't work for Stanford, so why is Duke, the East Coast Stanford, putting on the black uniforms today? Nobody really knows why. So I really like Virginia now after finding out that news. Nobody wins in black uniforms in the Super Regionals, so why do you throw them on? Alex, LSU and Skeens. If Skeens throws today, this is the lineup. This is the team. This feels like a little bit of destiny. Are you seeing that Skeens maybe locks up the Golden Spikes if he really performs well today?
I think he could. I mean, but Jack Caglione's, one of the other finalists. Dylan Cruz is another finalist. They're talking about some really stiff competition this year. But I mean, Skeens is far and away the best pitcher we've seen in college baseball since, I guess Steven Strasburg. He's at 179 strikeouts right now. He's 24 strikeouts away from Ben McDonald's single season strikeout record at LSU. So, I mean, if he can get, he's been getting about 12 strikeouts per appearance. So, gets one appearance here, one appearance in Omaha. He could break that record. So it'll be, I think he's got a chance, but there's a lot of other competition, and if Jack Caglione goes off and starts hitting a bunch of bombs, that could sway things.
It could. I like Skeens. I hope that he wins the Golden Spikes. I think that he's been just consistent, right? Like he's showing up every single day for this LSU team, and he's been their rock. Even when they were struggling there later in the season, he kind of just showed up every single game anyway. I expect him to do big things today against Kentucky if he pitches. I hope he gets 15 strikeouts. I want to see it. I want this LSU team to beat up Kentucky. I don't even care if Kentucky fans hate me right now. I like this LSU team, and I really hope that they get back to Omaha, one for the fandom, and both of you guys going to be there. I think it'd be exciting. All right, let's pick them. Let's pick the 8 games today, fellas. We're going to go right through them here. Alabama, Wake Forest. Alex, who you got?
It's hard not to pick against Wake Forest. My head tells me something crazy could happen, but I just can't find a scenario where Alabama wins today.
Yeah. Noah?
Yep. I think Wake Forest, and I just picked them to win in the most decimating way possible. So give me Wake big. I assume it's Rhett Lauder on the mound. Not that it matters. Their whole staff is great, but too much for Alabama. But again, Tennessee weighs on my mind.
Yeah, you could roll the dice and throw any of those 3 guys out there, and I'm still taking Wake Forest. So Wake Forest all the way in this first one. Virginia, Duke, Noah.
Yeah, this one I think Virginia also comes back all business like. I think that their loss last night or yesterday afternoon was a little bit different in the sense that it wasn't demoralizing. It was like, all right, if we play exactly the same way, we're probably going to win the game. Um, so they just got to come out and play their game. Don't overthink it. And now that Duke's wearing black, I think Virginia is all of a sudden looking pretty good.
It's all switched to all Virginia. Alex, Virginia, they push this game to another one.
Yeah, I think so. I think Virginia at home. I think they're going to come out and with some fire on. Teal and Geloff and those guys will get those bats going, and I think we'll see a game 3 tomorrow.
Yeah, I think they want to extend their season. I'm going all Virginia here. Florida, South Carolina, Alex.
Oh, that's a tough one. I think when we did our preview show, I picked this series to go 3 games. But I really have a good feeling about Florida today. I think South Carolina's got a lot of fight in them, and they certainly, I'm certainly not saying they're going to get blown out, but I just think that Florida is on another level right now.
I like it. Noah.
Yeah, this one is so tough for me. Obviously, going in, we all picked it to go 3 games, and I guess I have to stick with that. So I'm going to take South Carolina today, but I also have that same feeling about Florida kind of winning today. But give me the Cox.
With Waldrop on the mound and the depletion of this South Carolina pitching staff, I'm taking Florida today. I think that win last night kind of just put them in the right spot here to win today. I think, I know we all took them 3, but I think that this is Florida winning today and taking care of business. Kentucky, LSU. I mean, my pick. I don't even need to really say mine, LSU, but I'm going to let Alex go first here. LSU.
Yeah, I'm going to pick LSU to win. I'm going to pick LSU to win big. But I mean, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't nervous.
Oh yeah, I mean, anytime you're in a super regional, there's a reason why these teams are there. They can win the ball game. So, but yes, I got LSU. Noah, I'm assuming you're on the same board with Alex and I.
Yep, LSU big, and again, a lot of pressure on this program because if LSU loses this, I may never cheer for them again.
It may be time to flush the hats down the toilet here. Southern Miss, Tennessee, really interesting one here. Noah, I'm gonna let you start.
This one is so tough. Because of the Tanner Hall factor not going today, I'm gonna pick Tennessee.
Alex.
Yeah, I kind of already said it. I think Tennessee's going to win big today.
I'm going Tennessee today as well. I think if Tanner Hall was throwing, I might switch it the other way with them being at home. But I think that Southern Miss getting him to be the home starter tomorrow and being the home team tomorrow, I think I like them tomorrow. But it's Tennessee today, so I think this one goes 3. Texas and Stanford. Alex, this is a tough one.
This is a tough one, but I think I'm going to lean Texas on this one. I think I had Texas winning this series, and I think they get it started with this game 1 victory.
Okay, all right. Noah.
Oh, wait, who was the team?
Texas and Stanford.
Yes, this one is so tough. Jake has called Texas his lock, so for that reason, I'm going to go Stanford.
I'm taking Stanford today. I think that they take care of business. I know this is a battle of 2 teams that went 0-2 in Omaha last year, and one of them is going to get the rights to go back there and go 0-2. But I like Stanford to go out there and win this one here. Indiana State, TCU. Noah, who are you going with?
I think it's got to be TCU just because it's they're the better team. They're so hot right now. They're playing with the right firepower. We can kind of check them off the bingo card too, because the commentators from that one did say that TCU was kind of like Ole Miss and Oklahoma last year. So that one we knew it was coming, and I'm glad we got out of the way early.
Of course they did. Alex, who are you going with in this one?
My head says TCU, but my heart says Indiana State, so I'm going to go with Indiana State. I think the Sycamores, they're not done yet.
I am doing the exact same thing, Alex. I am taking Indiana State today. I think that they come out and just really will their way to a victory. This could be like a 6-5 ball game where they win in like a squeeze play or something. This feels like the way that Indiana State just kind of battles back and pushes to game 3. I don't think they win game 3, but I think that they get another one in here today. Oregon, Oral Roberts. Alex, I'm going to let you start.
I mean, it's got to be Oregon. Just the way they came out and won last night. They're going to be riding on such a big high of emotion that I think they come out and win big today.
Yeah, pretty demoralizing yesterday for Oral Roberts. Even though after speaking to him after the game, the coaching staff and the players really seemed like they were okay with it. They were just like, it's just another loss. It's all the same. I don't think so, though. Noah.
Sorry, an ambulance just went by.
Did a squirrel go too?
Squirrel!
What were we talking about?
Oregon and Oral Roberts.
Okay. Yeah, this one I think that Oregon kind of stole momentum yesterday, and they have such a grasp on that it's. I think Oral Roberts is kind of dead in the water, but they could very well win. That's our sport. But I think Oregon has to feel really, really good right now, and when Oral does not.
Yep. All right, fellas. I'm taking Oregon as well. I think that just demoralizing loss last night. So, any last thoughts, Alex?
Just ready for another great day of baseball. I'll be turning squeeze play on when we're done here and settling in for a good day.
Yeah, I'm trying to end this thing a couple minutes early so we can go get everything turned on and ready to go. Noah, any final thoughts?
Yeah, we start the day with squeeze play and we end it with oral. That's going to be a pretty good day. But I'm excited for this one. Super regionals are always my favorite portion of the college baseball season, and I can't wait to see all 8 games today. It looks like they're decently spread out, but that 2:00 window is going to be a little bit scattered for a second there. So I can't wait for that kind of mess of what I'm sure are all going to be great games except Kentucky LSU.
I'm excited. I get to watch some baseball games all day today, and then I get to drive down and cap it off with the Oregon Oral Roberts. I'll be down there. Again, if any of you fans are down there, come up, say hi. I'll be down on the concourse for most of the day, hopefully today. I'm excited. College baseball is rad. And then we get to do this here, and we get to talk about it all day on Sunday or Saturday morning. So thanks for joining us again. College Baseball Central and the weekend rotation. Don't forget, use code CBC15 at Home Field Apparel for 15% off your first order. For Alex Day, Noah Darling, and myself, thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next week to talk Omaha.
That's right.